Okay, let's just get right into it. Picture two scenarios. In the first one, your partner comes to you and admits to a one-time physical fling they had on a work trip. They swear up and down it meant absolutely nothing. Now, in the second scenario, they insist nothing physical ever happened. But for months, they've been sharing this deep emotional intimacy with someone else, sharing their dreams, their fears, all the things that used to be just for you. It's a really tough question, isn't it? And it gets right to the very core of what we expect in a relationship. Is the deeper wound an affair of the body, or is it an affair of the heart? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down. All right, so before we can even start to tackle that big question, we have to make sure we're all on the same page. So let's get crystal clear on what we actually mean by these two very different but equally painful types of infidelity. On one hand, you've got physical cheating. That one's pretty straightforward, right? It's any kind of sexual contact with someone who isn't your partner. A very clear physical line has been crossed. But then there's emotional cheating, and this one is a little sneakier. This is when your partner starts sharing the deepest parts of their heart and their mind with somebody else, and they're basically replacing you as their main confidant. This crosses a line of emotional exclusivity. You know, what's really interesting is how therapists talk about this. They often call emotional infidelity an affair of the heart. And that phrase just perfectly captures why it can feel so devastating. It's not about the body. It's about where your partner's soul has decided to go. So, with those definitions locked in, let's dive into the first side of this argument, the case for why a lot of people feel that an emotional betrayal is actually way more painful. See, an emotional affair isn't just some single sloppy mistake. It's a slow burn. It builds over weeks, maybe even months. Your partner is still right there next to you physically, but their heart, their attention, it's somewhere else entirely. And that makes you feel invisible. It creates this awful constant self-doubt where you're asking yourself, am I not funny enough? Do they laugh more with that other person? Trust doesn't just break, it slowly dissolves. And on top of all that, it's so much harder to call out. I mean, you can sound totally paranoid just for questioning a close friendship. And this feeling, well, it's backed up by data. In a bunch of different surveys, a huge majority of women, we're talking up to 78%, say that emotional infidelity is more upsetting. And why? Precisely because it involves feelings and connection and a very deliberate choice to turn away from the relationship. This quote from a betrayed wife, wow, it just captures the pain perfectly. It's not about sex, it's about the theft of intimacy. He gave away the parts of himself that were supposed to be hers and only hers. That feeling of being emotionally replaced, it can be absolutely haunting. But of course, that's only one side of the coin. For so many people, the physical act of cheating is and always will be the ultimate deal breaker. So let's dig into why. The argument here is basically that thoughts are one thing, but actions? Actions are something else entirely. Physical cheating is a tangible, undeniable act. You can't explain it away, and it almost always involves layers of deception, lying about where you are, who you're with. It also brings in very real-world risks like STIs or even pregnancy. And for a lot of people, it taps into these really deep, evolutionary fears about partnership and family. This quote from a Reddit user is pretty raw, but it captures a really common feeling. For some people, that physical boundary is just absolute. There's a primal, almost territorial response to the idea of a partner's body being shared. Once that line is crossed, for them, there is just no coming back. It's game over. Okay, so we've heard two powerful opposing arguments. But what if debating which is worse is actually asking the wrong question altogether? Let's take a look at where the modern consensus seems to be landing. So take a look at this data. It pulls together findings from several different polls. And while, yeah, opinions are pretty split, the biggest group, at 45%, believes that both are equally damaging. This kind of suggests there's a growing understanding that any kind of cheating is a profound betrayal, no matter what form it takes. So here's the real truth bomb. Experts agree both are very real forms of infidelity. Why? Because whether it's through sex or through soul sharing, both actions shatter the single most important foundation of any relationship: trust. Both involve secrets and both pull essential energy away from the partnership. Now, that being said, science does show some pretty fascinating differences. A famous study from 1992 by David Buss, which has been repeated many times, found a really clear gender pattern. When people were forced to choose, 60% of men said sexual infidelity would be more upsetting, while a staggering 83% of women said emotional infidelity was worse. The evolutionary theory behind this suggests men are wired to fear paternal uncertainty, while women fear losing resources and production. But and this is a huge but, these are just averages. They're generalities. Your personal history, your own feelings, and the specific boundaries you and your partner have set in your relationship, those things matter infinitely more than any statistic. Your pain is valid, no matter which side of that chart you fall on. So, what's the takeaway from all this? Well, the most important lesson here isn't about trying to rank different types of pain. It's about being proactive and protecting your own relationship from it in the first place. Here's a simple but really powerful action plan. Step 1, define your terms. Sit down and have an actual, open conversation with your partner about what cheating means to each of you. Don't just assume you're on the same page. Step 2, actively protect your bond. Invest in your emotional intimacy. And step 3, if a betrayal has already happened, get professional help. So many couples can and do recover. Ultimately, this all comes down to the unique agreement between two people. So the real question isn't just which is worse, it's a much more personal one. What are the rules in your relationship, and are you both truly committed to honoring them?